Welcome to another Grit and Grime basketball podcast. I'm your host, as always, David Sagoe, here with my co-hosts, Thomas Arnal.
Yeah, it's coming home.
Is that coming home for you?
It's not coming home for me. It's already home. The World Cup.
Anyway,
carry on.
Why are you talking about history, Tom?
That's what you guys do all day long. Anyway.
And Jose Garcia Vidal.
it's coming home too. Yeah, Copa America is coming home.
Dude, see, we all have our stuff.
Oh man. Yeah, and it's coming home. You know it's coming home. Come on, man.
If you guys win this, I will wear my England top and I will do the entire podcast with a overly dramatic English accent. There you go.
Well, what if Argentina wins the Copa America? Then you need to do something too.
I don't have an Argentinian kit, but if you provide me one, I will do it.
We can sort that out. Yeah,
accent.
we'll sort that out.
All right, cool.
It's in the mail.
It's in the mail. Large, please. Large. Thanks.
You can send your merch to P.O. Box.
Do we have one? Do we have a P.O. Box?
P.O. Box.
I wish. Yeah, so we are here for, obviously, an NBA preview, because we wouldn't be an NBA podcast if we weren't doing a preview for the finals. It's time.
Yes.
It's coming home from one of the two.
Only two teams remain.
Finally time.
Finally. 72-game season. Playoffs. This is it. 7 games at most left over. So we finally have the Phoenix Suns against the Milwaukee Bucks. Who would have predicted?
There is a guy actually that tweeted like 3 years ago, Phoenix Suns against Milwaukee Bucks, 2021 finals. Milwaukee wins in 7. Who would have thought?
But when people say stuff like that, I'm always like, I bet you tweeted like every single team, and that was just the one that you selected, and you quickly deleted the others before. Because that's crazy, man. You can't be doing that. But they were back then, like the Suns, had just about drafted Booker, and
Giannis was becoming a good player.
Yeah, like that's crazy. Because they were one of the worst teams in the league at some point as well.
2 years ago. What?
No.
No.
Like 4 years ago.
No, 4 years ago. Time flies.
It does that.
Yeah.
All right. So the other thing I wanted to do was, you guessed it, have a look at the bracket.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh my God, bracket.
I'm winning anymore, so.
Oh wow, we have a new leader at the top of the show, UK Bucks. Obviously, he picked the Bucks to make the finals and picked them to beat the Jazz in 6. So yeah, they have taken the top spot away from Jack Kings over at the UK Kings pod, UK Sacramento Kings pod, Twitter page. Yeah, so new leader, and I'm sure no one is going to. My phone's acting out. I'm sure no one is gonna catch them, because I doubt anyone had this as their finals matchup. UK Bucks has 3,400 points. Jack Kings has 3,200. We have Q Annie in 3rd place now, edged ahead of me. I can't believe this.
Wow,
2,800. How did he get me? He had the Bucks in the final as well, over the Jazz. Oh no, he had Utah in 6. So he won't be getting any more points. But that's how he edged me out. I'm in 4th with 2,200. Tied.
Wait. I'm in 4th. I'm in 4th with 2,600.
Yeah, but you don't know. You have to be in it to win it.
I'm in the league of my own. It's fine. In our bracket, the original bracket, I'm 1st, so I'll take that win. Take that.
Nobody cares about that one.
There's no prizes.
It's the only one I care about. I'm winning.
Yeah, so we've got me up next, and then I'm tied with Downey with 2,200 points. Then we've got AB from the Clutch Pod with 2,000. Jose with 1,400, and DK with 800.
At least I'm not last, man.
Yeah.
All right. Someone has to be. All right. So I guess that's kind of decided. Yeah, we'll have to figure out something nice to do for UK Bucks. Maybe invite them on the pod. Especially since the Bucks are in the final.
Yep.
So I want to start with predictions and then go into the reasons why you predict such things. I'm going to go first just to give you guys a bit of time to finalize your thoughts. I've flip-flopped on this quite a bit over the last few days, but I think ultimately I believe that the Bucks are the better team with Giannis. The Suns are the better team without Giannis, obviously. And so I'm caught in this weird position where if I knew for sure the health of one Giannis Antetokounmpo, I would be able to make a firm prediction. But I'm not, so I feel like I can't. So I'm going to lead with what has become tradition for me at this point when I don't know what to say. I
Lakers
just say,
in 6.
You're damn right. Lakers in 6, Nets in 6. And as the great, what's his name said? What's his name? Former Bucks player, former Detroit player.
Kendrick Perkins.
No.
As soon as you said great, I was immediately thinking Kendrick Perkins.
Point guard, played in Italy instead of going to college.
Brandon Jennings.
As the great Brandon Jennings said, Bucks in 6.
All right.
Okay.
I don't even believe it.
Okay.
I don't even believe it.
Okay.
I want the Suns to win. As soon as that left my mouth, I knew I wanted the Suns to win.
In 6 as well. You're not taking them to Game 7.
I think Giannis is going to come back. He didn't practice.
He's been upgraded today to
He's a game time decision.
His game time decisions, which is so weird to me.
He didn't practice. He didn't go through a full practice. But they said he was raring to go the last 2 games. Obviously he hasn't practiced. They didn't let media talk to him.
Yeah.
I think it's a thing where if he's not there for game 1, he's going to be there for game 2. I'm just hoping that if he is back, he's fully healthy.
Can he be fully healthy? I don't think so, man. Like that, even as strong, as young as, miracle healing powerful he is, or he can be. That was a nasty injury, nasty hyperextension of his knee. So I don't think he'll be at full health. And that is a problem for Giannis because he depends so much on his explosiveness,
absolutely,
and strength, and that ability to do a Euro step at any given point in the match, or two steps from the 3-point line and dunk. So you can't do that if you're not at full health, or you can do it like the reserved kind of version.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be back at full health.
Okay, if you say so. Bucks in 6.
I was reading a report on the type of injury he had. And usually in the regular season, you'll be sitting for 6 weeks. Like you'll be out for 6 weeks. Yeah.
What has actually been diagnosed as? I
can't remember the exact term, but what he's had is knee bone concussions. Yeah. So it's not actually anything to do with your ligaments or your stuff. It's actually your bone is slightly.
It's so when I'm guessing because it's something quite common. Like when your knee supposed to be like
hyperextension.
It goes hyperextends back. I'm guessing the meniscus gets kind of torn, so that's bone against bone,
touches,
right? So,
but they said there was no structural damage, right? So nothing is torn, nothing is.
So
broken.
I think it's Yeah, it's called his
like bruised.
bruised bones, something like that.
Yeah.
There's a word bruised in there. Usually you'll be sitting for 10 games, you'll be out for a bunch of weeks, and you'll be back, but with no surgery needed or anything. But that's why I'm very doubtful he'll be back. I mean, you know, I don't know.
Different scenario, obviously, than to the regular season. So the guy has all this adrenaline running through his veins right now that he's probably healing faster, but and he'll want to play. And after that, you know, after the 5, 6, or 7 games that they play, he will have 2 months to recover, right? Because I doubt that he'll go to the Olympics after this injury, regardless what the results of the finals are. So, you know, if I am the Milwaukee coaching staff, I'm thinking, let's bring him in. Are you okay with coming in? Which he's going to say yes to. So he's going to play, but I don't think it's going to be 100%.
You don't think so? Okay. Yeah, because that's the other thing. It sounds like it would just be a pain management issue, and
right.
But then you can always get re-injured, right? That's what happened with AD.
Yeah. And Harden and
and a bunch of others. Yeah. Part of the other reason why I've gone Bucks is I think the Suns have shown that they can be contained on offense. Aside from the Booker explosion in game 1 and the Chris Paul explosion in game 6. That was game 6, right?
Yep.
Or was it game 5? Did they beat the Clippers in 5 or 6? 6. 5. It was 5.
One of the two.
They haven't really been able to they weren't able to consistently score against the Clippers. And I think what the Bucks offer on defense is an upgraded version of that. Provided Bud lets them switch like he did towards the end of the Hawks series.
Right.
I think they can actually contain the Suns quite well with their defense because they have size on them at practically every position. They can throw PJ Tucker at Booker at times. I know he's a bit slow, but Devin Booker also isn't the quickest. Unless he's running off screens, I think Tucker will do a good job on him. Middleton could also spend some time on Booker. Drew Holiday can guard both Chris Paul and Booker. Middleton can spend some time on Chris Paul as well. And I think they can just blanket them enough to make it as difficult, if not more difficult, than the Clippers did on defense. We had a little discussion a couple of weeks ago about defenses being dead and how it might no longer be correct that the defense wins championships. But in the playoffs, the Suns have the number 2 defense and the Bucks have the number 1 defense in the playoffs. Offensively, I think the Suns are 10th, I think, and the Bucks are 11th, or vice versa, of all the playoff teams. So there you go. When it's come down to it, defense has won out. So as much as offense was getting you through a few rounds, in the end, you needed that defense to get over the hump. And we've got the 2 best defensive teams in the playoffs, in the finals. And I think that, again, defense is going to make all the difference here. Yes, it's the size. It's the size that I'm thinking will give them the edge.
Okay. Yeah. No, it makes
sense. So even without Giannis, right? They have size advantage.
They do. I mean, if Giannis can't go, or if he comes back and goes again, then yeah, I think the Suns will win. But even then, I think it will be difficult. But I think they'll win. Yeah. So that prediction is with an expectation that Giannis, if not goes game 1, then goes game 2.
Right.
If it's later than that, then all bets are off.
It's tricky one, man. I think it's just I before, you know, on all 3, what was it, Kawhi, that was kind of like in doubt. Who else besides before that?
against the Suns.
Well, when we're talking about them, when Denver was still playing, it was.
They played the Lakers in the first round, and they
Lakers with AD. I always kind of like went super optimistic and said, he'll be back. They'll win. So I don't think I can do that this time because I've been proved wrong every single time. So I had to think that Giannis is not going to be back before Game 3, man. And if he does, which he might on Game 2, he's just not going to be 100%, and he's going to run that risk of getting injured again. And what we all don't want to happen is going to happen, which sucks. So to be safe, the team should bring him out in Game 3, maybe. Give him another 5 days rest. So I think that the Suns are going to take advantage of that. Now, regardless of Giannis being there or not, I think that the Suns are going to win. Because I think, it's time for myself to start respecting the Suns team. I've underestimated them for too long. And I personally think that they played beautiful basketball against Denver, especially, but also against the Clippers. So I actually think the Suns are going to win in 6.
Okay. The prediction is made.
Suns in 6. I just think they're playing too well. Chris Paul has not been in the finals, but damn, he has so much experience. He has more playoff experience than anyone in the Milwaukee team.
Yeah.
And he's trouble, man. Booker is so motivated. It's like sometimes Kobe Bryant takes over his shoes or something, and he plays better. Then DeAndre Ayton, Jay Crowder is a problem. I think that the Suns have an advantage. So because of that general experience that they have not general, like as in he's general and Chris Paul is general on the court, that Milwaukee does not have. Drew Holiday can handle the ball. He's quite good. He's been playing quite well. But when it's time to stop the team and say, we're not running, we're not playing at Giannis's rhythm anymore. Chris Middleton, you can't shoot. Let's pause it, Chris Paul has that. And I think that that's what's going to give the Suns the advantage.
Okay.
All right. But I've got Suns in 6. It's Suns in 6. It's hard to say.
Were you thinking about the Knicks?
Knicks in 6, man. Knicks in 6. one day.
That is amazing.
Sucks.
That is amazing. We have a title, ladies and gentlemen.
Sucks in 6. Sucks the Knicks.
No. Anyway,
no, else is funny about that? It's actually a mix of Suns and Bucks.
Sucks. Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
so this is my prediction.
Went for both teams.
Sucks in 7.
6.
I said both. Technically, I was right. No, Suns in 6 is my prediction. So, because of Giannis's injury, so that's my first point. I think he'll miss game number 1 tonight, and I think he'll might barely hit the floor in game 2. And even if he returns, then again, like we said, in what capacity can he play? I don't know. If he needs to be 100% to be able to compete and be the leading guy. So I don't think that's gonna happen. Fortunately, we won't see everyone being fit again for another series. So that sucks. But yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I'm going with them in 6. But then the other 2 things was the Bucks not being able to shoot threes very well in the playoffs. I think they're just over 31% in the entire playoff run. That's not a lot. And even Chris Middleton is barely hitting 34%. The rest of the guys, like I think Holiday's under 30, PJ Tucker's under 30. Brook Lopez is like shooting 35. So it's they're not really they're not really there in terms of that part of the offense. So, and when we know these days how crucial that is to win games. And the Suns quite the opposite. They've been shooting really well, and their ball movements allow them to find great position, especially like the corner threes from Crowder and Booker. So I think, and they're rested as well, the Suns. So they have a little break. They can chill. They got Chris Paul back on all of his legs and arms and everything back onto his body. And I think the one thing we've not really, I think the main duel for me during this finals is going to be Booker versus Middleton. I think the one that is going to the best number two, if you will, on the team. I think the one that's going to perform the best. Well, Middleton's going to be number one, but the best number two will be number one.
According to main man Kendrick Perkins.
I say
Chris Paul is not number one. Devin Booker is number one.
On that team. Is he not the general?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's the number one scorer. I think
I'm not talking about a scorer. I'm talking like on the team's overall leadership.
In that case, yeah.
The leaders of each team. Who is it? Giannis at the Bucks and CP3 on the Suns.
Yeah.
In terms of scoring, yeah, you're right. It's Booker versus Giannis, right?
Even Middleton,
but technically in the setup, they're supposed to be the number two guys on each team. So whoever got the best performance out of their second guy, again, quote, I think they'd be winning it. So if Booker has a great series, then you'll see him partying at the end of it. I think Middleton will have a lot more to carry though. There's a lot more for him to do on that team to get them to win. So there's going to be tricky if Giannis is not there.
That's why he's got Shaq Lopez.
Yeah. What was that? What was that stat talking about Booker? What was it? I think it's the first time. What was it? Let me find it again. Hang on. I think it's the first time in the finals that you've got the two leading scorers the leading scorer on each team has played just for that one team.
Another team. Yeah.
Since
2010.
Kobe. Yeah,
2010, Kobe
and
Paul Pierce.
That's the one. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So Giannis and Devin Booker, both of them have never moved team, and they're both of them are the leading scorers on their teams. So I think it's quite cool.
I think we're going to get a good final as well. I think it's going to be a good matchup. I
am expecting actually. Sorry to interrupt you. More from these finals than from last year's finals.
Oh,
right.
Shut.
Going in before the injuries.
Yeah, no, hang on. I thought the Lakers were going to kill the Heat last year, which eventually they did. But because of injuries, right?
Yeah.
But besides the injuries, I thought, regardless of injuries, I thought they were going to kill them anyway. This year, I'm like, ooh, it's going to be fun, proper fun.
Yeah, close. Yeah. It's going to be competitive. And a lot of people spoke about not having big names in the finals, not having big teams in the finals, but I think it's going to be competitive and it's going to be interesting. So it's for actual basketball fans, less casual fans. I think it's going to be really interesting. And it's cool to see these guys, writing or adding to their legend, right? Definitely. We're going to get either a Devin Booker ring or a Giannis ring.
CP3.
Chris Paul, his long career could be stamped with a ring at the end. I know Drew Holiday feels like he's been underrated his entire career.
Yeah.
He could end up with a ring. Chris Middleton has definitely been underrated his entire career.
And both coaches
rubber stamp it. And then you've got both coaches, right? Monty Williams, who actually coached Chris Paul back in his New Orleans days, his last season over there, coached AD, was almost the Lakers coach. And then the Lakers ended up getting a ring and he didn't, but now he could get that opportunity to grab one. His story is incredible, incredible guy. And then Mike Budenholzer, much maligned, much criticized, called a regular season coach. And this year, they started the regular season by experimenting on different things, using Giannis as a big man, using him as a screener, putting the ball in Middleton and Holiday's hands and just trying different things, a little bit of switching defenses and things like that, a little bit of Giannis at center. And they've had to use all of that stuff in the playoffs. to make it this far, and here we are.
Yeah,
they're in the finals. So yeah, there's a lot of things to be looking out for. Shaq Lopez versus DeAndre Ayton.
Actually, yeah, that's gonna be fun as well.
Yeah,
they've both been playing so well.
Yeah, and we talk about big men being back. Ayton's had to go up against AD in the Lakers, and Drummond. He's had to go up against Zubac in the second round. No, that wasn't the second round. Against Jokic in the second round.
Yeah.
And then Zubac in the next round, and then the small ball lineup when Zubac got injured. And he's come through all of those challenges. Now he faces Brook Lopez. Is he going to shoot threes? Is he not going to shoot threes? Is he going to be Shaq Lopez? Is he going to be Mirotic Lopez? We don't know. We don't know.
Wow, Mirotic.
Yeah, shouts to Mirotic.
Brought him up. Hey,
he's gone home. Yeah, not going to be at the Olympics. But yeah,
Ayton's been good defensively as well. I think also he's held everyone. He's been defending on under 45% shooting or 40% shooting.
He's been one of the best paint defenders in the playoffs. And the Bucks have, I think, the best paint defense in the playoffs as well. He's got a lot of his looks off of rim runs and offensive rebounds. The Bucks thrive on getting offensive rebounds and controlling the paint, so it's going to be interesting to see who wins out in terms of that battle. These are also the two best teams in terms of corner three defense. So Tom, you mentioned guys like Crowder and Bridges accessing the corner three. That's what the Bucks defend better than anyone. Same thing on the other side, Connaughton, PJ Tucker. Those guys trying to hit their corner threes as well. I think the Suns are the second best at defending the corner three in the playoffs. So there's a whole bunch of battles, tactical battles and things going on in this matchup. It should be really, 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 really interesting. Bucks and 6.
Sucks and 6.
Sucks and 6, man. Sucks and 6.
What would the opposite of that be? Buns. Ooh, buns and 6.
Buns and 6. Whatever that means.
Buns suck.
Cool. So, anything else on the finals, guys? Is that all she wrote?
Like I said, it's first time in a long time that I'm going in without any favorite or any, I'm happy either way. So, it's good to enjoy basketball without having any pressure, right?
Always. With that said, I did ask you guys in the group last week. You picked who you think is gonna win. Who do you want to win? I think I realized as soon as I said Bucks and 6 that I actually want the Suns to win. I do have an affinity for Devin Booker and a few of the other guys on that team.
I want the Suns to win, and I picked them. And that definitely influenced in my decision of the prediction as well. I think they're going to win it. I want them to win it. What I was going to say and add to in conclusion was that both of these teams, we didn't expect them to win the finals at the beginning of the season at all. We thought Lakers, maybe Clippers. Maybe Denver, in my own personal biased opinion. And on the other side, it was the Nets, right? And maybe the Sixers at the beginning of the season as well, because they were doing so well. Even the Jazz, we thought the Jazz had more chances than the Suns, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome, and that shows injuries aside, right? Because we can put an asterisk on it and say, but everybody got injured. Regardless, man, it's great. Basketball has so many twists and turns that we have an unexpected, amazing finals ahead of us.
Yeah, and as far as asterisks go, even as a Lakers fan, health is part of it. Yeah, right. Of course, if certain players don't get it happens every year as well.
Every single year,
players get injured. And it changes. Not changes. Maybe the result would be the same. Maybe it wouldn't be the same. But it's going to happen anyway. Yeah, it's going to happen regardless. So you have
to factor them in.
So being healthy is part of winning a championship.
Exactly.
100%.
It's funny because that I used to have the same sort of thinking when I was younger, and I was like, if we had that player not injured, we'd have won the title. It's like, well, yeah, okay, fine, but it's part of it, right? And it's like it's the same with people complaining about ref decisions. It's like, well, that's part of the game as well. Sometimes the ref's gonna have a shitty game, and then the ref's gonna have a great game. When you don't notice them, then you're having a great game.
Exactly.
And my answer was at one point, like, well, your team should put themselves in a position not to have to worry about the referees, right? It's like just sounds simple to say, but yeah. So it's part of it. I understand for players, it's frustrating having all those injuries, and for the fans as well. But again, it seems to be one of those years where it's like in football now, the Euro. There's so many injuries as well. It's
everywhere.
Very, very hard injuries, like very ones that you get you out for the next 6 months. They're not tiny little muscle injuries. They're like proper anyway. But so it's all part of it, and it's fine. It's still the same format of the same 7-game series and everything. So there's no asterisk around that winning this. Even in the bubble last year, it's like, no, it doesn't matter. Like everybody goes on the same. Yeah, you're on the same starting line. You're all in the same conditions. If you win, you're happy with it. In terms of your question, I think I see the Suns winning it, and I think I want the Suns to win it because of the way they played basketball this year. Like, I don't have any personal preferences in terms of players, but like from what I've seen, the way they move the ball, I'm always a sucker for like team movement, like ball movement, over personal, like one-on-one ISO ball and stuff like that. Exactly. So I'm more like, that's what like the Spurs 2013 14. So it was from here. That to me, that's the sort of basketball I want to watch. And the Suns are in the same kind of vein there.
Yeah.
At times there's some offense where you really see it. So that's what I like to see this year. But again, if Bucks win it, I want to see Giannis trolling everyone. That'd be fun too. That'd be fun too. So
yeah, he's a great dude. All right, cool. So there are a bunch of other little news bits going on around the league. Ben Simmons is close to us, guys.
He's working on that shot. Tennis shot.
Wow. He's in the city, baby. London.
If he's listening, we'll welcome him. If he's still around on Saturday 17th, Saturday 16th or 17th. Yeah. So next time we play basketball, come down.
Yeah, you should come down. You should come down. Meet his mirror image.
Me.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. You should also jump on the poddies over at SW19, taking in the sights of Centre Court at Wimbledon.
Not just that.
So welcome to the city, Benjamin. And in other news, there is a story around the finals that doesn't have anything to do with the finals. ESPN host Rachel Nichols, it has been revealed just in recent hours that she will not be on the sidelines for the NBA finals as she was last year. She's not going to be on the ESPN Countdown show at all, having made some comments behind closed doors that happened to be recorded in, I guess, against her colleague Maria Taylor, who was given the Countdown hosting gig on the ESPN network. They have the finals again this year, along with ABC, I believe. And what Rachel had said in the recording was that, where is it? If you need to... Oh, she said, I wish Maria Taylor all the success in the world. She covers football, she covers basketball. If you need to give her more things to do because you are feeling pressure about your crappy long-time record on diversity, which, by the way, I know personally from the female side of it, like, go for it. Just find it somewhere else. You are not going to find it from me or taking my thing away. She refers to my thing because her contract said that she is supposed to host Countdown for the NBA Finals. Maria Taylor's contract runs out at the end of this year's finals, and it looks like she will be hosting Countdown, will be hosting the finals. But we're still yet to know whether or not she's going to accept ESPN's contract, the contract that they extended to her.
It sounded like it was a no, what she said. She was like,
well, she's already turned them. She's turned them down already. It's just remains to be seen whether they're going to increase the pay packet or whether there's something else that she wants them to improve around the package. But she has been lobbying for them to make further changes behind the scenes. And yeah, she's been vocal behind the scenes about some things that she wants to see changed. This story came out. Rachel apologized. What's this here? It says she told the New York Times that she was unloading to a friend about ESPN's process, not about Maria. My own intentions in that conversation, in the opinion of those in charge at ESPN, are not the sum of what matters here. If Maria felt the conversation was upsetting, then it was, and I was the cause of that for her. She said that she contacted Miss Taylor to apologize via texts and calls. Maria chose not to respond to those offers, which is completely fair and a decision I respect. And then on her show on The Jump yesterday afternoon, she said, so the first thing they teach in journalism school is don't be the story.
Don't be the story.
And I don't plan to break that rule today or distract from a fantastic finals, but I also don't want to let this moment pass without saying how much I respect, how much I value our colleagues here at ESPN, how deeply, deeply sorry I am for disappointing those I hurt, particularly Maria Taylor, and how grateful I am to be a part of this outstanding team. By team, she is referring to both the Countdown team and the NBA team, because there are people that obviously run the show and there are people that run the NBA department. I think most of the backlash against Rachel stems from the fact that she is insinuating that Maria Taylor got the job because of all of the stuff going on with George Floyd last year, and she felt that ESPN wanted to put a black woman as host to show that they care about black people, essentially, right? Push someone black forwards, and it just so happened that it was a position that was promised to her. She talks about her being a female and having to overcome barriers as a female. But the way that she phrased what she said made it sound like Maria was getting the push because she was black at a time when they wanted to push black people. But she didn't attribute any of her own achievements to tokenism herself. Right. She didn't say that she benefited from being a woman in the industry in the same way that Maria Taylor benefited from being black and a woman in the industry.
Right.
So that's where people have pushed back against her. Some people have just been like, I don't see the problem. Rachel was promised the job. She wasn't given the job, and she's mad about it. What's the issue? Wouldn't you be? So I posit those two areas to you guys. I don't know what side of the fence you guys fall on.
You can be mad about it, but that doesn't mean that you can say whatever the fuck you want, or that when you're mad, when you are feeling like extreme emotions, that's when the true colors come out, don't they? So that was terrible, man, what she said. Also, like, her apology, like, I heard what Kendrick Perkins said after her and Richard Jefferson, and they spoke longer than her. Like they were almost a bit more sorry than she was because of what she said. It's just ridiculous, man. Like, and I think you said it right. And like, she, if things are the way she said, then she also benefited from it, right? So, but she did not say that, right? So, it's completely wrong. you can be mad, but that doesn't mean you can say whatever the fuck you want. Or, I mean, you can say whatever you want. You shouldn't think that way. You know what I mean? Like freedom of speech, sure, but everything has a limit. Like you shouldn't think that way. It's like, it's just weird talk about this kind of like politics, and because it ends up being like a politics issue in a way. But this is wrong.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a weird one. This one is like, I don't even know what to think about it. Really, I mean, the one thing I was like, man, that place must be a shithole to work for. You know?
Yeah. Paul Pierce is not there anymore, so they don't have really good parties anymore.
I don't know. She shouldn't have said what she said, and like you said, Jose, you know, like sometimes when you get mad, you say things that either that are showing your true color, or sometimes that are not. Although she said it thinking she wasn't recording herself, so that would certainly point at her showing her true colors more than saying something that you know, in the heat, you know, the heat of the moment, and you cross that line where actually you don't really mean it. But I don't think that was that. So I don't know. I think what thing that the thing that bothers me was the apology, like you said. I think it was a bit like, sorry. So it was like, sorry, I ran you over with my car. Oops. You know, that's what one of the main things that bothered me the most. And I don't know, man. It's just weird because she goes from one moment of saying, oh yeah, she deserved that job. You know, she's amazing, she's great, but then she goes complete, 100%, almost like Trumpist. You know, like, but then she's black, so I don't want her to take my job. It's like,
that's what it sounded like.
What? Like you said it yourself, like she's good enough to get the job, so surely that's that, and I don't know, there's so much to unpack in this one. It's a bit hard to make your mind up, because I don't know how to define it. It's like, it's not it sounds weird, but your casual racism, do you know what I mean? Like your things that I don't want her to get the job, she's black, it's so many layers in this. It's like well, I was a victim too, and I profited from my position within that, and I benefited from it and stuff like that. So why, it's like, okay, she's a woman too, but then she's black, I'm white, so that gives her an extra edge. It's like it feels like she's confusing a bunch of different issues and mixing it all up and trying to process the information that she's getting bounced. So I don't know, it's a bit all weird there. I just feel her apology should have been a hell of a lot better than that.
The apologies are never good in these situations, I find.
Exactly.
It's a shame, because I do actually like Rachel generally as a host, as doing what she does.
She's good as well.
Analyst too.
She's really charismatic. She's funny. She has an ease with the players. But I mean,
wasn't it especially Jimmy Butler?
That was a great interview. She did a great Wade interview as well. And then she managed to get the big interview with Anthony Davis and LeBron James after the finals, which was actually part of why she was talking to the person she was talking to, Adam Mendelsohn, who is LeBron's agent. And that was who she made these statements to. And funnily enough, if you read the full New York Times article, there's another excerpt where she says that she's tired, and then he reciprocates that. He says, I'm tired too. I'm all Me Too'd out. I'm all Black Lives Mattered out. And this is the man that's supposed to be heading up LeBron's, I've forgotten exactly what it's called, but it's a charity that encourages Black people to vote, and get out and get registered to vote and things like that. And that's who's making the statement. And it just goes, like, I can tell from your face, Jose, that there's just a seedy, nasty, like,
it's disgusting,
man. Like an underbelly to
What
to
is
a lot
that?
of these people.
Yeah, which is like money first, and then all those things that are a bit more about social awareness. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like I can't, like, if you're the agent of LeBron and you don't really think alike, or you don't really have the same priorities in terms of social justice, and you're like, okay, LeBron, you can do the whole, almost like it's part of your brand, like,
Yeah,
you know,
it's a transaction.
Forgetting that he's a black dude, so Black Lives Matter is probably important to him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, it's not about business at that stage. It's none of it is, and it's like, well, okay, you can mention it, but please, not too much gonna hurt the brand. And like, if you're somebody like LeBron, you're gonna say, nah, man, it's bigger than that.
Yeah.
And the only way I can interpret what he was trying to say, it was like he's tired in terms of like his job, trying to potentially, you know, we were talking about Michael Jordan in the other day. No, they're about hurting the brand in general, right? And he's gotta put out all of those fires privately with potential customers, potential brand deals. I think that's what he meant. Well, I hope that's what. Well, I hope it's not the bad word, but I think that's what he meant. But it's really weird coming from a guy who is like the right-hand man for LeBron, right? It's like surely all of that stuff is like, well, yeah. I mean, I agree with him. So, you know, not with the agent, but I agree with LeBron. That's where he should be fighting. But so it's another odd bit of conversation within the weird conversation that happened. So it's like, I don't know. But but I agree. It's actually quite disgusting if you think about it. It's like, I'm tired of those social movements. Well,
what the fuck, man?
Well,
so here's the deal, though. A movement like Black Lives Matter or any other social justice, propelled movement.
Yeah.
You don't have to follow it. You don't have to care about it, right? But for you to say something like that means that you actually don't like it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, dude, are you against this? Like, at least, so you wouldn't say that if you were indifferent to it, which is fine.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're like, Black Lives Matter, cool. I'm not gonna join you. I'm just gonna go this way. All cool with you guys,
do you.
you know?
Yeah.
Exactly, which is fair and everybody's entitled to, right? But you don't have to go, I love you guys, I'm with you all the time. Like, you don't have to, like, that's fine, okay? But for you to say something like that means that you're against it, you know? So that's what strikes me the most. Like, I'm like, what the fuck?
Has LeBron actually said anything about that bit of info that came out?
I don't think I've seen him say anything about it.
I think we would know by
Maybe
now,
he's keeping it private, right?
Yeah, I mean, boy, like I said, this guy is very much involved in all of the things that he pushes forwards, and also the things that Maverick Carter does as well. He's basically the biggest part of their agency.
Yeah.
So he's like Mr. Clutch essentially. I know we think of it as LeBron, we think of it as Maverick Carter, but he's like the head agent, I believe. So yeah, he's up there. So it's just crazy. The whole situation is just crazy.
It's unbelievable, man.
I mean, it's not that surprising, to be honest, because I know as a black man, I believe there are always going to be people that do this, right? That when you see them public facing and in these situations, or when you talk to them directly, they're all pro any cause that you bring up. They'll stand with you, they'll rock with you, they'll ride with you. But then either behind closed doors, they're just like, I don't really feel the way that I talk about it. Or it's the Rachel situation, which is I rock with it until it upsets or affects me.
Yeah.
Right? As soon as she said my thing, right? That was the end of it. You're not going to find it from me or taking my thing away. Right? And when you use language like that, it's like, well, actually, it's not your thing. It's just a thing.
It's exactly.
It's not yours.
Thing. That from one day to another, those big companies, they can just tell you, okay, bye-bye.
Exactly. And that's what they've chosen to do in this situation. She's not going to be on the show at all.
There you go.
And now her thing is someone else's thing. And you need to, as someone in a privileged position, when you say you are down for these causes, you need to be prepared to lose your privilege.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whether that is white privilege, whether that is male privilege, whether that's straight privilege, or any kind of other privilege. If you're really down for the cause, then you should be willing to relinquish your privilege for the cause.
Sure.
And
it's just the entitlement. The entitlement there. So the entitlement there is it's quite stunning. It's like
exactly.
It's my shit. No.
Yeah. And
it's fucking not.
And if you're not, then you're not really down for the cause.
Yeah, it's like they taking ownership from you. Like, you don't own ESPN, so shut the fuck up.
But it's this is where I find it surprising, is that your let's say your upbringing, you're not part of those circles when you hang out with, for example, let's say your neighborhood was completely white, and then suddenly, for professional reasons or for any reasons, certainly you have to start hanging around and share your professional life and the things you love the most with people from different races. Usually what happens is that you become almost unaware of those differences in races. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, usually when you're within that mix, suddenly you're just like, well, it's just another person you're dealing with. It's no longer, well, look, I have to talk to big black dudes. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know if it's just a me thing, but it's like to me, it's like I don't actually care that you're like, I don't understand the differences between.
I think it's harder than you would think.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's that simple. I'm talking like in general, like if you're confronted on a daily basis with different, again, races, different what's the word looking for? Different traditions, different upbringings, cultures. Different point of views, different cultures. Exactly. You usually, depending on how open-minded you are, but again, it's usually you become this. You become like you are now this free-flowing human being, and you're not really affected by it. Like, you don't, like, you see those typical Americans you see online who is like, oh my god, you're from Europe, that's a country, like ignorant type of people. It's like suddenly you become a bit more
open
to that, right?
I think I think you're right, and I think it is how open-minded you are, but when, at what age do you actually start thinking for yourself and can change your mind if you feel like you have to or you want to? Only at a certain age, right? So it comes from home. It's how, and we're digging deep into this, right? These are conversations that I had with many people, especially when I came to the UK, because obviously, I'm an immigrant here, right? Same as you, Tom. We're immigrants.
Oh no! It's coming home.
So it's all about, when every time I go back home, I feel like my head, like my mind is way wider than my friends that stayed in
that's a classic,
which is fair, which is fair. But I also feel like my parents, raised me in a way where I was just more open-minded anyway, right? And aware and tolerant, and you know what I mean? Like, so when someone like this, and circling back to Rachel Nichols, says something like this, she's been, thinking like this from generations, her family, right? Like it's that's the problem, So yes, surrounding yourself with other people it's the best way to learn more, but you need to have a good foundation first, right? So yeah, again, like it's just, we're digging deep, and we could talk about it for ages, but it's just disgusting to see these things still happening, and unfortunately I don't think they're going to stop anytime soon.
No, no. It's been brought to light, right? And yeah, I do just want to cap off the conversation by bringing up something that you said earlier, Tom, in that ESPN, I think, comes out of this looking worse than anyone else, right?
Oh hell yeah!
Because essentially, the way that they've done their business has meant that these two women are pitted against each other in this way, by writing that into Rachel's contract and then going back on that promise. They've created this issue for themselves.
Yeah.
And if they didn't have a diversity issue to begin with, whether that's with women on air, whether that's promoting women's sports, which they don't really do. They have ESPNW, and they've had a few people head up certain campaigns and things over there, but it still doesn't get the same kind of push and investment that the men's games do, and the NFL and the NBA. If they didn't have this diversity issue to begin with, they wouldn't have this conflict here.
Right.
It wouldn't have had to brew, because there would be enough jobs to go around, and there would be enough people in those jobs that could feel secure, and they wouldn't have to make changes at the last minute like that. They wouldn't have to duck and dodge and try and adapt to the times when a black man gets killed in Minnesota, right? Like, that shouldn't be the trigger for your change in business practices.
Exactly. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, and you know, it's not something you achieve in a year. So yeah, I mean, I had it. We've had that at work as well, when with my former employees had gone through all this stuff, and yeah, it's a long process, and anyway, we could do an entire episode on this. It's quite a topic, isn't it?
Yeah, but I guess we'll wrap there, guys. Bucks and 6. It's coming home.
Sure.
It is.
Barca. Brazil to win the Copa America.
What?
Oh,
are you kidding me?
Shots. Oh my God. Oh, see how it feels, Jose. See how it feels. See how it feels.
What is this?
It's okay. I'm on your side. I want Argentina to win this.
Thank you. What the hell?
I want to see Messi celebrate, man, before he moves to Paris. Anyway,
he's not going to Paris.
Along with Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi under the same jersey.
Can you imagine? Barcelona can't afford them, but I think
Paris can. Huh?
And Neymar.
Neymar. Boom. Barcelona plus. With Sergio Ramos in defense.
You're right. He's one there.
Real Barcelona. That's how it's called.
Oh Jesus.
Anyway,
I'm sorry, Jose. I'm sorry. Yeah, but we wrap. So remember to like, share, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast wherever you listen. Leave a comment. Any comment. Say hi. Say good pod. Say yo. Say we watch. Say it's my first time watching. Say it's my last time watching. Say something. Leave us a review as well wherever you listen to the podcast. 5 stars, please. Any other contact and stuff can go to our socials at Grit and Grime Pod. And that's that, I think. I've been your host, David Sagoe. So from me, Thomas Arnal.
For the vibes. Yeah.
And Jose Garcia Vidal.
Adios.
We're out of here.
Bye.
6 and 6.
6 and 6.